Yesterday, we had the entire Trigun Challenger deck fully revealed, and I've got some instant analysis and snap grades. Let's start off with the deck as a whole. I'm giving it a B, similar to the Cowboy Bebop deck, and it's for pretty much the same reasons. There's some really strong characters, we have some really cool cards, the collector pack is really neat. However, it does still feel like a Clash deck to me, where it's very simplistic in its design. It feels like the design team was expressly told they're not allowed to put more than one ability on a foundation. We're still having pretty simple concepts like EX and Powerful explained on the cards. You know, that kind of holds it back for me. We were told this was for a veteran product meant for people who are already into the game. However, I do understand still keeping it for beginners because these are branching out into new IPs and probably going to be bringing in a lot of new players. So I understand still keeping it a little more simple. And because the characters are so good, I can't give this anything less than a B. You know, Universus is fundamentally a character-driven game. Like, I'm a big fan of football, and in the NFL, quarterbacks sell tickets. You know, take, for example, the Indianapolis Colts. They're not a great team, they're not a bad team. Early in the year, though, when Anthony Richardson was healthy, that was must-watch football. And it's kind of similar in Universus. You're buying this deck fundamentally to get the characters, and then it's got some cool cards and some cool art as well. All right, let's jump into these really sweet characters, because I think both these characters are probably top 10, top 20 characters in the game. That might be a little bold of me to say, but I truly believe it. Okay, Vash the Stampede, 6-hander, 28 health, tenacious, mill 1, your attack gets 2 speed, commit, discard 1 attack, draw 3 cards. And then he's on the all, death, and life symbols. So he's a little defensive, very similar to his character in the show, right? He's kind of a pacifist. You're discarding an attack, drawing 3 cards, making you effectively an 8-hander with 28 health. You do have to commit your character, but that's not a, committing your character and discarding attack to draw 3, that's not a huge cost. I absolutely love this character. He plays really defensive, and then when you do need to break down your opponent's wall, since you are like a mid-range character or a long game character, then the 2 speed will go a long way to doing that. I'm giving this character a solid A. All right, moving on to Wolfwood, 6-hander, 28 health. Mill 1, your ranged or weapon attack is 3 damage. So already he feels different than Vash. Vash is getting the speed, but Wolfwood is just slamming damage. And then response, discard 1 momentum. After your combat phase begins, draw 2 cards and gain 2 health. So Wolfwood is also basically an 8-hander, but his is a little more gated. And I think that's really smart of the design team to do, because if Wolfwood was just an 8-hander on turn 2, then he could definitely turn 2 kill a lot of people with that damage, with the damage in hands. So basically, this bottom response is kind of gated towards turn 3 on, and you have to have that momentum. Now, on the all and fire symbol, you do get cards like Cremation, where you could maybe grab turn 1 momentum. Immediately, Wolfwood brings to mind a Twisting Azure Inferno on the death and fire symbols. Since he just gives it 3 damage, it's going to ignore progressive, and we get to draw 2 cards, so it's going to help us string. It's Twisting Azure, turning it on is going to effectively give all of our attacks +1 speed, which is very helpful since Wolfwood doesn't give speed. That's just my idea right away, is I think of Wolfwood as a Twisting Azure character. I'm going to put him in the A tier. I think he's probably a little bit better than Vash, but not by much. I like Vash. Vash to me feels like a really cool mid-range character. He probably gets out-controlled by the very control-focused characters in super long games. But being an 8-hander, slamming 2 speed onto everything, I love Vash. Wolfwood strikes me as a little more aggressive. You probably want to be winning more on turn 3 and turn 4. And getting that, you want ways to get that momentum to become an 8-hander. All right, moving on to Avoiding Conflict. I think this is a 1 diff, 5 check, response remove. After this card enters your discard pile during the enhanced step, this attack is +2 damage or -2 speed. So it says during the enhanced step. So just checking this card is not going to count as getting 2 damage or -2 speed. But if you're a character that has any sort of way to mill, like for example, if you're Endeavor 3 and you're milling 4, then you can very easily get 2 damage. Or if you have that like 0 diff that says you mill 1, your rival mills 1, then you could easily get like the -2 speed when you're playing defense. But it also has this enhance. Place this card on the bottom of your deck, draw 1 card. and it's a 1-diff. So on your first attack, this is basically just saying, hey, I'm going to switch this action for something else. Basically saying that we just went from 50 card decks to 60 card decks. If you play 4 of this, you're basically playing a 56 card deck. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to hurt the consistency of your turn 1 builds by a little bit by having more actions. But other than that, it just replaces itself. So in a lot of these mill heavy decks like Endeavor 3, they're going to love this card. I'm giving it a solid A-. Once again, this goes perfectly with Wolfwood and Twisting Azure Inferno, because you play the enhance and then you respond Twisting Azure Inferno. Hey, go ahead and give me another 2 damage. And now you have a 4 plus 3 plus 2. You have a 9 damage Twisting Azure Inferno that they have to block. And then everything else is getting a speed and didn't even count towards progressive. You can see how Wolfwood gets super scary fast. I really like this action. So far, we've had a really solid start in our grades. 3 cards, 3 A-tier grades. All right, let's move on to the assets. See if we can keep this train rolling. Interdimensional Plants. 3-diff, 5-check, 2 high block. Commit, destroy 1 foundation, draw 1 card. Your next check to play a card gets +1. So this is really nice. You're going to commit it. You're going to destroy like a committed face down, right? And then that's going to allow you to build a face-up foundation and stay out of deadlock. And it's going to help you draw a card. And it's going to say your next check to play a card gets +1, basically meaning that this is an asset that sort of pseudo plays like a foundation, like an 11th foundation on the stage. Enhance, discard 1 momentum. Your attack gets 3 damage, gain 1 health. I wish this enhance was tenacious, so that you could use the top enhance and then continue using the bottom. Discarding momentum for 3 damage and gain 1. That's not like incredible, but it's pretty solid, because now you're going to be able to slam 3 damage on moves that don't have powerful. And you know, you can slam it on moves that have EX super fast and they don't have powerful for a reason. But now with this asset, you're getting another 3 damage. I'm going to give it a B-. And the reason I'm giving it a B-, even after I said all these nice things about it, is that it is an asset. It is a 3 difficulty asset. Even though it plays more like a foundation, I kind of struggle to see how it's going to find spots in decks. You know, it'll probably start out in decks and then get cut. But who knows? I could see this card surprising me and being a lot more competitive than I'm envisioning at the start. All right, Disabling Shot. 4 mid, 5, 5-diff. If the top card of your discard pile is an attack, this attack gains stun 2. You know, we used to have a really powerful 5-diff attack that was 4 mid for 5 and a 2 high block. It was called Back Alley Haymaker. It had stun 2 for free. It had EX2 on it, and it had a free build or a draw on it. This is like Back Alley Haymaker if you... I don't know. I mean, this is just terrible, terrible Back Alley Haymaker. Nobody's ever going to play this card. A 4 mid, 5, sometimes stun 2. Come on, guys. Okay, Fan the Hammer. 4-diff, 3 low, 3, 1 mid block. Mill 4, this attack gets 2 damage for each ranged attack milled this way. Chances are, if you're playing a full range package, then you should at least hit 1 or 2, right? If you at least hit 1, then it's a 3 low 8. That's fine stats for a 4-diff. If you hit 2, then it's a 3 low 7. That's pretty good stats. And if you hit 3, then 3 low 9. That's really, really good. The chances of that are very, very small. And it's a 4-diff. When this card first got revealed, I was very, very excited. But that was because I thought it was a 3-diff. As soon as I saw 3 low 3, I just thought it was a 3-diff. If it was a 3-diff, I would say A tier. But since it's a 4-diff, I'm going to put B-. It's not really doing anything other than being stats, and its stats aren't really incredible. It is milling, so if you're a mill strategy, you might like this card. But and it is a low attack. So I'm putting it in the B tier. It narrowly avoids the C tier. Okay, Inevitable Clash, the ultra rare 6-diff, 5 high, 7, 0 mid block, powerful 3, ranged weapon. Enhance, add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. So if you're Vash, you discard an attack, you just pick that attack right back up. Or if you're anybody else, notice what it has. It has powerful 3. Powerful 3, the attack, pick up your momentum, right? Most of the time your momentum is going to be an attack. So basically what this attack is saying is, hey, I'm 5 high 10, pick up 1 of your momentum into your hand. And that's really good. but it is a 6 diff, and 6 diffs struggle to find spots in competitive decks. So I'm putting it in the B tier. But I could definitely see this card surprising me. It feels a lot like Prominence Burn to me, where a lot of the times you're not playing Prominence Burn because it's a 6 diff, but when it works, it really, really works. All right, Merciful Volley, too low. Oh, and can we just appreciate this art? To me, this is the coolest art in the entire deck. Okay, Merciful Volley, too low 4, 4 diff, too low block. Mill 2 gets X speed. X equals the highest difficulty on a card milled this way. So if you mill your 6 difficulty attack, now this is an 8 low 4. You know, I love it when you get 3 stats per difficulty. 8 low 4 would become 12 stats, 4 difficulty, 3 stats per difficulty. I would love this attack just for stats. But you're only milling 2. So what if you mill a 0 diff, a 1 diff, and now you're just playing a 3 low 4? Ranged weapon, deadlock stun 2. So it is, you know, it's gated to just deadlock. I like it. I could put it in the B tier. I went ahead and just said B minus because I think in the end there's just better things that you could be doing. But if you mill the 6 check, you're living the dream. All right, Nimble Maneuver, 3 high 4, 2 low block. Add the top card of your discard pile to your deck. EX2 ranged weapon. It's not really doing anything in and of itself, so it's definitely not an A tier card. It doesn't even have good stats. You know, 3 high 4. Typically you at least see 4 high 4 for a 4 diff. Add the top card of your discard pile to the top of your deck. That's really good if you have a way to draw that card. But if you don't have a way to draw that card, it's not really a big deal. I should have probably put this in the C tier. But I went ahead and said B minus because it's interesting enough. I'm just, not much is coming to my mind. Like passing the torch, you know, it'd be nice. Put it on and then passing the torch, draw it. So there's stuff here. It's interesting enough. B minus, probably should have said C plus, but I'm feeling generous. Okay, 5 difficulty, 4 high 5, 2 mid block, Punisher's Beam. Breaker 1 ranged tech, mill 3, add 1 ranged or weapon card milled this way to your momentum. That's really good. Basically free momentum. Now, sometimes you're going to mill 3 and they're going to all be foundations. But notice that this doesn't say attack. It says ranged or weapon card. So even ranged or weapon actions and foundations and assets can get added to your momentum. But like on the death symbol, imagine if you milled like Rushing Stab, Piercing Needle, Deception Dagger, you know, and then those got to go to your momentum face up. Flip Rushing Stab, draw 2 cards. Now, you know, now we're cooking. We got a momentum. We got 2 cards. This was incredible. Bottom enhance, if this attack deals damage, destroy 1 rival foundation. That's selective destruction. Basically, this is saying, hey, even though this is only 5 damage, you have to block this. If you don't block this, I'm going to destroy the best foundation in your stage. You know, so it's just forcing a block. I love this attack as a string starter. I'm going to get myself a momentum. I'm going to force a block, basically giving all of my rest of my moves +1 speed, which is very important. And yeah, I'm getting momentum, which is important to Wolfwood. I'm getting speed because I'm forcing a block, which is important to Wolfwood. Yeah, I love this attack. I'm putting it in the A minus tier. It could become A or A plus if there was some way to spend that momentum on face. For example, like Rejuvenating Smash, you get the free momentum. It has EX3. So sometimes you just use it on that attack. I wish this had EX3. Or I wish the Breaker 1 became Breaker 2. Maybe that would be pushing it too much. I already think it's A tier, A minus. Okay, 4 diff, 4 mid 4, 3 high block. That really hurts that, you know, why did we give this a 3 high block? It didn't need that. Enhance, if the top card of your discard pile is an attack, your rival loses 2 health, you gain 2 health, can't kill your rival. B minus. Like, if that enhance does go off, then gaining 2 health, your rival losing, you know, that makes it like a 4 mid 6. Then it pays off. It's just that 3 high block, and it's not really doing anything more. This feels like one of the early cuts from the deck so that you can make it better with something else. Okay, on to the foundations. Counselor of Plants, 2 diff, 2 low block, Tenacious Flip. After this card is committed due to your rival's effect, gain 2 health and ready 1 foundation. So it's some stun hate. but typically we see stun hate like this on a 0 diff or a 1 diff. This is on a 2 diff. There's just no way that this is going to find slots in decks. 2 diff, decisions, 2 mid-block. Commit, this attack gets 2 damage. If the top card of your discard pile is an attack, it gets +3 damage instead. Once again, I'm going to say C+. Commit for 3 damage can be very strong sometimes. But a 2 diff committing itself just for 3 damage, yeah, I don't quite see it finding play. C+ might have been a little harsh. Maybe I should have said B- on this. So it could go either way. I could see it finding some niche play. I guess that's why I gave it a C+. But mostly, I think you're just going to be passing over this foundation. Okay, get the scoop. 1 diff, 3 low block. Flip, look at the top card of your deck. You may discard it. So this is like bad Destin for mainstream success, right? Destin said, name a card type, look at the top card, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's that card type, put it in your hand. You can name attack. If it was an attack, you drew an attack. If it was a foundation, hey, now you know you have a 5 check on top of your deck. This is just saying, look at it, you can discard it with no benefit of potentially drawing an attack or drawing whatever you reveal. 3 low block, it's not bad, but I'm going to give it a C+. Most of the time, I don't like things where all I do is look at the top card of my deck. Those kind of effects to me are feel-good effects. Like, they're not like game-changing effects. And I'm looking for game-changing effects, not just to feel good. Okay, grasping for answers. Okay, what do I mean by that? Like most of the time, I was going to do the thing I was going to do anyway. Like, I was just going to slam my next attack anyway, no matter what the top card of my deck was. Like, I guess it's nice that now we can maybe make it a little better. There's still no guarantee that you're making it better. I think you're just kind of feeling good by doing it, and it's not actually changing the game. Whereas Destined for Mainstream Success could change the game sometimes as a spam foundation. Okay, grasping for answers. This one kind of makes me mad. I could go on a whole rant here. Okay, it's a 2 diff, 3 low block, 5 check, C-. Okay, well, I got ahead of myself. I should read the enhanced first. Commit flip. If the top card of your discard pile is an attack, your next ranged attack is -2 difficulty. Yeah, this is C-. A few months back, I did a whole video on like the top 10 worst cards in the game. I meant it just to have fun and, just to have a good time and look at some of the terrible cards in the game. And I think that this could be one of the top 10. If I was to redo that video, we could just go ahead and slide grasping for answers into there. Okay, so look at it this way. In Undaunted Raid, we were given looking for a challenge. That was a 2 diff, 3 high block foundation. So basically the same thing as here, except a high block instead of a low. And it said, after this card is committed due to a rival ability, your next check gets +3. So it was incredible, repeatable stun hate. And it had a bottom enhance that said, commit flip, your next check to play or block with an attack gets +2. Basically, that bottom enhance is the same thing as this bottom enhance. But most of the time, you weren't playing looking for a challenge for the bottom enhance. You were playing it so that your deck had some sort of stun hate, and then it was just nice that sometimes it counted as 2 when you were like really pushing for a lethal attack string where you really needed a block. But so this is only the bottom enhance of looking for a challenge, and it's worse because the top card of your discard pile has to be an attack, and it's only for ranged attacks. So it's gated in, okay, so it's the bad ability of looking for a challenge, which already doesn't see a lot of play. Looking for a challenge is like a niche card. It's like a B tier card, right? Sometimes you slot it in, sometimes it gets cut. So we're taking the bad ability on looking for a challenge and we're gating it twice to make it even worse. I mean, this card is just hilariously bad. What are we even doing here? Would be my question for whoever designed it. Okay, so that was that. All right, Motherly Affection, 1 diff, 2 high block. Flip, if the top card of your discard pile is an attack, gain 2 health. That's pretty fine for a spam foundation. I don't mind this, especially if you have some way to like flip it and then unflip it later, destroy it, build it back in. A 1 diff gaining 2 health, really not bad. Eventually, you're going to have the top card of your discard pile be an attack, and then you just use it right away whenever that happens. It's also a 2 high block. It's not terrible. I could see it in these decks that really want to gain health like crazy, but most decks I think you're going to pass over it. All right, pitching in, 1 diff, 6 check, flip, choose 1 card in your discard pile and place it on top of your discard pile. So in and of itself, this is doing nothing, right? You're not gaining anything to your hand, you're not adding stats, you're not gaining anything into your stage. All you're doing is messing with your discard pile. But it's going to enable some really funny things on other cards. So I'm going to give it B tier. It can't be A tier on its own because it's not doing anything on its own. But for example, let's consider Fae. This has chaos, right? Fae, we revealed yesterday, or 2 days ago in the Bebop deck, said response commit after your attack deals damage, add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. So on chaos, you could play Electric Jolt, Zero Gravity Lift, you know, anything that's going to definitely do damage. And then when it deals damage, you flip this, you put your best attack on top, and now you're going to draw your best attack. Or let's consider like on the all symbol, you have attacks like Knee Smash. Knee Smash says like remove 1 foundation if the top card of your discard pile is in a foundation, build it. Well, now you can use pitching in and selectively choose your very best foundation to build. You know, is there a specific foundation in your discard pile that's just going to win you the game if you build it? Then you can go grab it with Knee Smash and build it in. Or Knee Smash also says if the top card of your discard pile is an attack, draw a card. So you could flip pitching in so that you could then draw a card. You're not going to be drawing that attack, you're just going to be drawing a random card off the deck. But you can see how pitching in can help advance strategies that like to look at the top of your discard. So I'm giving it a B. It can't be A on its own, but it's also going to be doing some really nice things. So it's out of the C tier. And it's just a 6 check, you know, it's a spam foundation that checks a 6. It has a decent block with a 2 block modifier, and it has 2 keywords, ally and ranged. It's hard to dislike this card, and you know, it's nice that it follows so closely after Grasping for Answers. I think this was a horribly designed, I think Grasping for Answers was a horribly designed card. I think Pitching In was a wonderfully designed card. Like, I think we don't have many cards like this in the game right now. And so this adds a lot of dimensions to deck building and really, you know, gets your brain working. All right, 0 diff, Prideless Negotiations, 2 Midblock, Breaker 1. We're just printing all of these 0 diffs that basically do nothing. You know, we're in February, set 1 of My Hero Academia will rotate out of the game. Set 1 of MHA had crazy 0 diffs like Release, Requesting Assistance, Tight-Lipped, all of these things that were doing really powerful abilities. And basically it looks like design is taking a step back on 0 diffs and saying, whoa, 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 we way cranked these earlier 0 diffs. We're going to pull them way back. And I don't think that that's bad. You know, you really don't need to be good on a 0 diff to see play. Breaker 1 on a good block, it's fine. You know, I don't think this is A tier. It's not like the 0 diff from the Bebop deck where it was a 0 low block and checking a 6. This is a mid block Breaker 1. But if you just need, you know, something to help your deck stability, hey, throw some of these in. By the way, on the life symbol, we now have basically 3 blank 0 diffs, right? Not technically blank because the Bebop one had a static and this has Breaker 1. But the Bebop one had life. We already have the Ryukyu Foundation that's blank, one high block, 6 check, and now we have this one that's basically blank but a Breaker 1. Okay, Seen It All, 2 diff, 4 check. If the top card of your discard pile is an attack, this attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage. Why does this not say and? Why is it an or? We've already established that 2 diff foundations are allowed to give 1 stat for free, right? Like the Endeavor Foundation. I can never remember the name of it. Mill 1, your attack gets +1 damage. We've already established that a 2 diff is allowed to give 1 stat for free. But here we're gating it to your discard pile has to be an attack, and then you have to choose between a speed or a damage. And it's not even checking a 5, it's checking a 4. I think this is C tier. We'll never really see competitive play. Like, I understand it in characters like Endeavor, right? Where Endeavor 3, where you're going to be milling 4. You get to choose the order that those milled cards go into your discard pile. You can always put the attack on top. And now you can always choose a speed or a damage. And I understand there is some benefit to selectively choosing between a speed and a damage. But come on, why couldn't this check a 5? Why do we have to make this a 4 check? Why do we have to say or? If it said and it checked a 5, I would be in on this foundation and pretty excited about it. As it is, I'm not excited at all. All right, Suspended Bounty. 2 diff, 2 high block, 5 check. Commit. This attack gets -2 speed. If the top card of your discard pile is an attack, it gets -3 speed instead. Come on. Commit. This attack is -2 speed. That's a 1 diff foundation ability. Making it -3 speed sometimes if the top of your discard is an attack. Why couldn't this? Why couldn't this have been a 1 diff? We have Ice Gliding as a 1 diff. Commit -2 speed if it's blocked. Your rival's next attack gets -1 speed. So that's a commit for -2 speed with an additional -1 speed if something happens, right? If some condition is met. And this is the exact same card. This gets -2 speed. If a condition is met, there's going to be another -1 speed. Why couldn't this have been a spam foundation? If this was a spam foundation, I would say A tier, and I would be really in on it. As it is, a 2 diff, I'm going to give it a C+. Listen, I know like if you were attacking on your turn, and then your rival blocked it, and so that attack goes to the top of your discard pile, I know like this -3 speed should be pretty consistent on your rival's first attack, right? But on a 2 diff, there's better speed hate that could be played here. Okay, 2 diff, the Big Fall, 3 high block. This is the last card in the deck. Remove, your rival destroys 1 ready foundation, but your rival gets to decide. Deadlock Enhance, remove, your rival destroys 2 ready foundations. Now this is an interesting card, and I like it from a design standpoint, but I think it's bad. You know, and it's okay to have those. Like, this is an interesting card that I like that it's a part of the game, but it's also bad. Your rival getting to choose the ready foundation. Well, most of the time your rival's just going to destroy their ready face down foundation. And then you just traded a face up 2 diff for their face down foundation, which was probably a 0 diff that they flipped for some character benefit, right? And in that case, it's terrible. So you would never do that if you were the person who had built this card in your stage. You would have it in your stage because it forces your rival to make decisions. Because your rival, when they're committing to make blocks, normally they want to keep their best cards ready. And so eventually, if they only have 1 or 2 cards ready, and both of those are really powerful, then you can use the Big Fall and get rid of a really powerful foundation in your rival's stage. But your rival gets to play around this a little bit, right? But it is to your benefit if your rival plays around it. So see what I'm saying? This is a fun card. I like this card. It sets up this, it sets up this interaction and this like game between you and your rival. So this is, to me, really fun design. I love this card. It's probably bad, right? It's probably not going to actually be finding spots in decks. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, so I'm giving it a C+. I maybe could take it to a B-. I see the utility. It sets up this fun minigame with your rival, but probably just going to get cut in the end. Okay, so that's going to do it for the deck. Let's do some final counts. We had 4 A-tier cards, 9 B-tier cards, 8 C-tier cards. Almost all of the C grades, though, were on foundations, right? If we look at this, C+, C, C, B, 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 C, 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 C. Like, almost all the foundations are C-tier, but most of the attacks are at least B-tier. Like, they're pretty good. Inevitable Clash is interesting. Fan the Hammer, interesting. Merciful Volley, if you're playing some 6 difficulty heavy deck, then that becomes really interesting to become an 8 low 4. So all in all, I think this deck is a solid B. I think you have some solid cards in here, but if you're buying the deck, you are fundamentally buying it for these 4 cards. You're buying it for the characters, Vash the Stampede and Nicholas D. Wolfwood, and you're buying it for Avoiding Conflict and Punisher's Beam. Those are the 4 chase cards from this deck. And guys, keep your eyes out because I'm going to be doing an unboxing of the Challenger deck on January 12th. In reality, I'm actually doing that unboxing as soon as I finish this video and upload it on YouTube, but I'm not allowed to upload it until January 12th. So Sorry guys, but I cannot wait to open this. Like I have had this in my house for 4 days now, and it has just been staring at me, just tempting me to open it. You know, it's just been like sitting on the shelf, and I'm just thinking, I want to open that so bad. Okay, well, that's enough about that. Good luck to everybody who is playing in the winter warm-up webcam event for January today, and especially a huge shout out to my local Aussie who's going to be giving it his best on Deku 5. I think he has a really good shot of making top 8, and I hope when I'm doing deck reviews for that top 8 in a week or so that I'll see him. I'm very jealous of everybody participating. I'm not participating today. Instead, tonight, I'm going to go to my locals. I just couldn't take tomorrow off, and so I didn't want to play, and then if I made top cuts, I would have to resign right away in top cuts. So very jealous of everybody, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the decks that you guys come out with.